Okay, so sometimes as a trader, there's different times that are slower than others, right? And this is the day after the July 4th holiday, right? And so in the middle of the day, there's just nothing going on. And I've always wondered what the freaking lead singer to Pearl Jam is saying during Yellow Ledbetter. It's literally like one of my favorite songs that I don't know any words, but listen. Okay, I looked up the lyrics because I had time to kill. Unsealed. I would have never, if in a million years, I would have never guessed that unsealed was the first word to that song. Anyway, this is what happens to traders when we're bored. All right. Anyway, I'm going to start with the equity curve here. Another green dot. I did have a four-figure day today. It didn't take too many trades, but you only need a couple good ones to make a decent living if you can stack them together and keep grinding higher and play defense. And this is what an equity curve looks like when you are, with the exception of March 8th, right, which is right here, when you are a defensive-minded trader and you know which stocks to watch every day, right? And then you know how to trade them, right? So if you can just only watch the right stocks and then only trade them when your parameters are met, and you got to learn the parameters first. Trading isn't that complicated. You'll never hear me say trading's easy, but it's not that complicated. It's all about being ready and prepared and knowing what you're doing. So, keep that in mind. And also, one other comment, I made a mental note to myself because I always watch Twitter feeds and StockTwits feeds while I'm trading to see what's going on out there. And, there's a certain group of traders out there that it's not uncommon for them to say, buy XYZ with both hands right here because it's going to, and then they'll give a price. And I'm telling you, don't ever get caught up in that because I promise you nobody knows where a stock's going. And that's like, that kind of talk is forbidden in our chat room, and you'll never hear me do it. You'll never hear me say XYZ is going to, because nobody knows. If somebody tells you something's going somewhere, they're not doing you a favor. They're just trying to suck you into buying so you can hopefully move it higher. So a couple highlights from my day was CBI. I took a 5-minute buy setup, called it in the chat room, and made a few bucks there. Made $848 on that one. And then PRAN, one of our Tokyo style trades, I was able to make another 796. So those were my two really nice trades for the day. But you know what? But between the two of those and a couple other trades, one flat and one small loser, I still had a really nice day. So let's look at the SPY here. You can tell it's holiday volume. It's very light volume, pretty narrow range in the market. Intraday basis, the SPY gapped up, sold off, then goes up, tests the high of day, then takes out that. But really, for the last 4.5 hours or so, it was a total chop fest. So it's really important to find the right stocks, trade them, and and then wrap up your day if you can, especially during holiday week trading in the summer. My watch list for tomorrow. There's some things I'm going to watch. JMP. Now you don't want to chase, and this thing. Sadly, I discovered this thing and mentioned how strong it was, and I think it wasn't even $6 yet. Said, wow, this thing's making a move, and it ends up going almost to 8. And I never found a trade in it. It was spready. I couldn't find news. And this huge spike here, keep in mind, was only on 1.2 million shares, but maybe a red to green in that, and certainly needs to be on watch the next several days. Kind of have the same scenario with CERU. Huge breakout today, maybe a red to green in that one tomorrow. Again, you don't want to chase, so if they're gapping up in the morning, I wouldn't just jump right in because usually that doesn't work very well. MYOS, another one that just a slow, long downtrend and then a nice pop. And it's a former high flyer, if you will, for lack of a better term, right? Had some huge moves back there in early part of the year and a nice little mini breakout today. So maybe a continuation day in MYOS tomorrow. IMUC is what I meant to type there. Another one just like that. And sometimes, man, these holiday weeks, it's just like low float mania, and then people just start piling in. And you had the same thing in IMUC, but it gave back a lot of its gains on an intraday basis. But again, it goes on watch, maybe a red to green, something like that. RTK, now I don't generally trade stocks under $1, but you can see back here, it hit 58 cents. Then here, it hit 55 cents, and today hit 55 cents. So you can kind of picture a very clear resistance line and nice volume in the last 5 sessions or so. So watching for a possible breakout over, 56, 57 cents, something like that. Let's keep our eyes on RTK. It's not my favorite price range, but Speaking of price ranges, IDXG. I'm going to go to 15-minute candles because you just can't tell by looking at the daily chart. This thing gapped up the other day on good news, but sold off. Definitely found support again in the mid to high 80-cent range, and then today broke out above that 92 resistance, closing at basically 97 cents. It's kind of interesting if it can get over $1. You've got this big island down here. If it can get up over $1, you look to the left and you say, well, the only other thing in the way is $1.03. That was the high of the gap up day. So this one's kind of cool. A lot of people were watching this today, I saw on Twitter. So the daily, you can't see anything, but if you were trading, if you're a day trader, you noticed the extra volume in this one today. So we're going to watch IDXG for a breakthrough $1, maybe tomorrow. $1.04 is interesting as well. TROV, nice pop here, secondary pop here, and then flagging and closing strong today. This one might just kind of break this flag and head up and retest these highs and maybe break out above them. So it's a fairly handsome chart. I want to watch CBI again today. It was on watch today, and like I said, I called a trade in it. I think it was around 1890. Ended up going to 1960 before settling in at 1930. But you did have a huge move, and a few days lower, and a kind of a narrow range today, and it did close above its open, so you have a green candle. So I want to watch that for a long setup tomorrow. And then lastly, I have Fred, F-R-E-D. I was watching for a bounce in it today. No trades in it today, and just another red day. But this is, to me, if you go to the weekly, I talked about this. It's down below this $8 area. Down in this area is where, because it's gotten there pretty quickly. So down below this $8, a lot of times when you take out recent lows and you got there in a hurry, you get a nice snapback rally. So I love it down here in this area, but not just as a random buy. Only if I get a proper intraday setup, because remember, I don't hold overnight. So just looking for a bounce trade in FRED. And I'm going to glance at the monthly. I mean, yeah, this is that $8 area. I think it's gotten there too quickly. I'm kind of looking for a nice snapback in this one. And then here's the daily one last time. So, this just 5 sessions ago, this was up over $12. So certainly worth watching for a nice bounce. Again, no trades in today. We'll be back on watch tomorrow. We'll also look for some gappers in the morning. And our 4th of July sale is still going on for the rest of the week on our trading course. And special deal on our chat room as well. If you want to join a chat room where the ideas are given out and explained ahead of time, it's a different concept than most chat rooms. You'll never hear me say in XYZ, and then then we run into the game of people trying to pile in and then first one out, turn off the lights. We don't have that in our chat room. We have a bunch of people that actually work together to spot the setups that we teach in our course, and we also teach them, in a chat room as the day goes on. It's not uncommon for me to project a chart and show why I like something, and we have a daily Q&A where I go over all the morning trades in the middle of the day when things are slow. All right, I'm done babbling. Enjoy your night. See you tomorrow.